Namaskar everyone. Welcome to Rev Talk by Revners Season 2. Today on 21st of June, we are recording our fourth episode on a very special occasion of International Yoga Day. And we have brought a yoga group from right from the yoga capital of the world, Rishikesh. Uh, we wanted to do something different on this episode of Rev Talk. We wanted to, and 21st June is known as International Yoga Day. So we wanted to contribute in something in terms of yoga and meditation. So we decided to celebrate this occasion and bringing someone right from the yoga capital of the world, Rishikesh. And today we have our guest speaker as Harshita Thakur. She belongs to the city of Yoga, Rishikesh, and I will just quickly share a brief introduction about her. She holds a master's in yogic sciences. She is a certified trainer in Reiki healing, alternative therapy, and healing yoga. She is again certified in Tibetan singing, bowl healing, aerial yoga, diploma in diet, nutrition, and health education, and various other things like Yog Nidra and all the stuff which she will be talking about to us. She has won various awards, including Bharatiya Nari Swabhiman Award for representing India in yoga festivals in Indonesia and Bali. So, with that, we would like to welcome you, Harshita, on Rev Talk, and welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so
Hello.
thank you. So, we would like to start. You know that everybody has a definition of yoga, and we keep on hearing yoga is this, yoga is that. But we would like to know from your point of view, what exactly is yoga? How you going to define yoga for the audience? You know, will listen to this and will gain some perspective in terms of what actually is yoga.
According to me, yoga is lifestyle. Yoga is the way you think. Yoga is the way you react to the situation. Yoga is the way you carry yourself. Yoga is your body, mind, spirit, and soul. And of course, keeping myself in mind, I am a follower of Maharishi Patanjali, and according to his sutras, uh, one of the sutra is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, right? That means all the things which are coming up in our mind, all the thoughts which are disturbing us, to let them go from our mind, निरोध कर देना उन सब वृत्तियों का वो योग है, right? So I would like to tell you a little bit more about yoga, what according to my understanding. So for me, life, if you just follow these 8 rules which is written in the traditional scriptures uh, by our maharishis and gurus, if we just follow that in our life, we can literally do wonders in our life. We can be happy and we can live a simple life without any stress and tension, right? So I would like to introduce you all to 8 limbs of yoga. We call it Ashtanga Yoga, which we have taken from sutras of Maharishi Patanjali, right? So there are 195 sutras which have been explained, and these 8 limbs are just small part of it. So just imagine if you read the whole 195 verses, what will you become? So I'll just enlighten you a little bit with these 8 limbs so that you can improve your mental as well as physical health, and it is definitely helpful in making a better person. So the eight limbs are Yama, Niyama, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. So even if you follow first 4 or first 5 limbs, which I'm just going to explain you, you will literally see a good transformation in your life. So the first limb is Yama, and now what Yama means? What does so there are 5 yamas, right? That is ahimsa, steya, asteya, brahmacharya, and aparigraha. So ahimsa is non-violence. Non-violence not in terms of physical, that okay, someone is coming up and you just beat them up, that is non-violence. No. So we focus in yoga, we focus on inner violence. How do we stop this inner violence? How do we stop our thought, our negative thought towards others? So this is what focus yoga is focusing on, कि आप अपने external actions के साथ कैसे अपने internal thoughts को transform करते हो. So second is again satya. Satya is truthfulness. Truthfulness, not like, okay, again, not external, but how truthful you are to yourself, how much truth you are speaking from yourself. Usually, we literally show off ourselves in the world कि भाई, okay, मैं सच बोलता हूँ, मैं सच बोलती हूँ. But being truthful to yourself is very, very important. Second is asteya, that is not non-stealing, which every one of you must be aware about. Then is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is not what we usually think. Brahmacharya is moderation of thought. Brahmacharya means, utilizing right use of energy, right? So we have energies within us. We have a lot of energies which I would not like to go in right now. So where are you utilizing this energy? What kind of thoughts are you having? How are you doing a correct use of it, right? Then it comes aparigraha, that is being not being greedy at all. Okay, so keeping it very short and crisp, we have we just know about what yama is. Niyama is right way of living, that is discipline, right? So niyama also have 5 types, I must say, or forms you can say. So these niyamas are Shoch, Santosh, Tap, Swadhyay, and Ishwar Pranidhanatva. So it is also a Sanskrit shloka. So it's cleanliness. Shoch means cleanliness, and not only cleanliness outside, how much clean your thoughts are. Cleanliness of thoughts, right? Santosha is contentment. So I've been seeing so far that people like me also, and every one of us, we have a lot of things, but we are still not contented. We are not happy. We are not satisfied with what we have. So yoga teaches us how to be contented, right? And the third is austerity, that is tapa, right? So I relate this austerity to I've seen we lack credibility in our lives. A lot of things, right? It's like we say something, matlab, in daily life I see that if we are saying, okay, I'll see you at 5 or I'll call you at 5, so in छोटी छोटी चीज में जो हमारा inner credibility है वो जा रहा है. We don't see कि we are not punctual, we are not credible. So yoga is teaching us that how to be credible enough, right? So adhyaya is reading of scriptures or books which have moral values, which can make you disciplined, right? It's not telling you to read any holy scriptures or anything. Then it's Ishwar Pranidhan, to have faith in Ishwar, in God, in yourself, anything, but to have faith. Then comes the main part of yoga, that is asana, right? Asana plays a very, very important role in all our lives if we are practicing it. First of all, it has a lot of physical benefits. If you are practicing asanas, you are making yourself healthy. It's really good. I'm just going to be a little bit therapeutic now. It's good for your blood pressure, right? It's good for diabetes. If it's good for cervical, you have to just find out different asanas and different ailments which you're facing, and then all these asanas are really, really good. I'm telling you, even a single asana in yoga, even if you are doing a toe movement, even if you're doing an ankle movement, yoga has justified what particular part it is affecting you and how it benefits you, right? So this much deeper study our scriptures, it's written all in our scriptures, even in therapeutic way. So yeah, asanas are good in that way. Pranayamas we must have heard. We all breathe, but we don't know the value of this breath. We have never experienced, like we have never observed the breath. We have never observed Whenever we are stressed, what kind of breathing are we doing? Whenever we are angry, what kind of breathing is happening? Our breathing pattern is increasing. Whenever we are calm, so this is just the breathing, and our pranayama has literally explained us how to channelize these energies, how to open the blockages, mental as well as physical, when we practice pranayamas. Whenever we have anxiety, whenever we have stress, it's literally blockaging any energies. Of course, I'm not going to go that much which energy center it's blocking or what is happening. So we'll just go with it's blocking one of our energy center. So what prana सब लोग कहते हैं प्राणायाम करने से स्ट्रेस रिलीज होता है, एंजाइटी रिलीज होती है, कैसे होती है, क्यों होती है? Nobody really asked this. So when we do pranayamas, most importantly, it's really working on our nervous system. It is activating a lot of points in our nervous system, right? And it's opening up the blockages. It's literally making the oxygen flow in our nerves or blood flow very clearly. And of course, it's really, really helpful in opening up the chakras, which you call energy centers, which really helps a lot in releasing the emotions like insecurity. Some people are not confident. So even if you practice right kind of pranayamas or you do some these kind of practices, they are going to work for your stress levels, your depression, or anything you can call it. Another is pratyahara, which we call a turning step in yoga. So pratyahara is a kind of balancing or controlling or regulating is the correct word, I must say, of sense organs. Most of these we are getting disturbed, we're not able to concentrate, we're not able to focus. That's because we are getting distracted by these sense organs. Whenever you are meditating, what is happening? You're hearing some sound, right? Maybe you're seeing something, you are imagining some taste of your favorite dish or whatever. So controlling these senses really helps a lot in balancing your mind and focusing your mind in a place. Then comes dhyana, sorry, dharana. That is meditation. That there comes meditation according to yoga. When you practice all this, then you move forward to practicing meditation, right? Of course, आप इतना सब कुछ कर रहे हो, so definitely you have some focus. Now, कहाँ होना चाहिए आपका focus? Dhyana is one pointed meditation, one pointed focus. So you focus, you meditate upon one object. It might be a candle flame, it might be anything of your own choice. Some people meditate upon their healing stones, right? It might be anything, you can choose it. So that is second last limb. And samadhi is a thoughtless state. Thoughtless state where you can balance yourself, you become very neutral, that nothing can affect you externally as well as internally. Our mostly we are what is troubling us the most? It's not other people who are troubling us the most, it's us, it's our own thoughts which are troubling us, which are not really letting us sleep. We are getting insomnia, we are getting sometimes tinnitus, we are getting a lot of different diseases because of stress. So when we get one pointed, when we are at least we cannot stop the thoughts, but we can regulate them in a right way. So yoga is a very good instrument, I can call it, or a path you can call it, to just improvise your whole personality. Understand?
Thank you, Arshita, for such a deep explanation of yoga. And like from a rookie point of view, what I can absorb is, that I was writing a few points that, basically it teaches you a lot of self-control and, makes you, basically it makes you aware of what exactly is going on in your life and how to take control of the things which are happening in and around you. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously I have to listen to you again and again to get all the things, but I got the gist of it that, okay, this is what exactly yoga is. So I have got a fair idea of what exactly you guys and how one should go about it, and what exactly, when somebody says they're going to learn yoga, what exactly they're looking forward to. So that's a great insight, and I know that your journey we have talked before. So I know your journey as a yoga practitioner and all. Like you started really early in your career, around 7 8 years, and then gradually you have grown through different by taking different courses, by teaching people and all of that. But one of the major aspects which I want to talk about, from your perspective, we would like to know that if somebody wants to choose yoga as a career, how one should go about it, and like how one should plan, and how should take things forwards, and what is there in store for people who want to go for a career in this field.
First of all, if you want to uh, adapt yoga as a career, the first and foremost part, it's like you should have that interest level in you. You should be able to feel, right? Because it's not like, I taught you something, I taught you doing asanas, until and unless you have not practiced, you have not felt the meditation, the after effects of pranayama in yourself, you won't be able to explain it. Because honestly, meditation, pranayama, any feeling which you are getting during meditation, you cannot explain. It's unexplainable. So first of all, I would like to say, the ones who are looking forward to take yoga as a career, they should start practicing themselves first, right? It's not the thing which I can teach you, right? I cannot teach you the experience, right? I can just guide you through. I can just guide you through asanas. I can guide you through meditation practices. There are so many, but which one suits you, which one you connect to, depends on you. So first of all, you should start practicing, and you should be able to connect, maybe which form of yoga you connect to. Like I connect to traditional yoga, that is hatha yoga. I really love practicing it. And some people connect to ashtanga, some people connect to iyengar, right? And so on, they go forward. So second thing is, you start reading. According to my experience, no degree, no certification, or any course, definitely we you have to get a job, तो आपको एक certificate दिखाना है, and then you will get a job. So in yoga it doesn't happen that way. In yoga you are interacting with people face to face. I have met a lot of people who have not really done any course, any degree, but they are so knowledgeable. They are literally, they understand what imbalance is there in you when you start talking and explaining, whenever they are doing consultations. So believe me, it's all knowledge. It's all what you have experienced yourself. It's all what you have read yourself. So I then you can move forward with it. And of course, there are a lot of career opportunities in the whole world, not only in India. In India, I can say you can, at least, even if you're not aware about the philosophies or scriptures, you can open up your own fitness center. You can teach different types of yoga, detox, and many more are there. And then there are wellness centers. There are, in hospitality industries also, they have taken initiative to introduce yoga to their guests for their mental peace, or anything must be their motives. Hospitals also, yoga is being used in a therapeutic way. So yoga, if you look at it, even in corporate, people are going and giving, they are inviting yoga teachers to teach. Even in IBM, there are so many companies which are taking this initiative. Internationally, you can, even if you want to work freelance, it's a loveliest thing. And yeah, you can even open up your own school. You can work in colleges as a professor. Now even in schools, teachers, yoga is becoming like a subject, so you can work in schools. So it's spreading everywhere. Like I have noticed since past 15 years, yoga has like grown and grown, and I think it's going to grow much more in coming. Like we are celebrating this 21st June, the yoga day, and so you can imagine how vast it is now in the whole world. So yeah, taking it as a career is a good option, but make sure that you have right kind of knowledge. You don't harm anyone, right? While practicing, you have to know like which person should do what yoga in terms of therapies. Even if anyone is healthy, you are teaching them advances. So अगर आप खुद practice नहीं करेंगे, you won't even know कि how do you do arm balances, back bendings, or stretchings, or anything, right? Even you can become national coaches now. I think national level पे भी अब yoga होने लगा है. Patiala Institute, which trains coaches. So it's everywhere. It's not like a career which you should think about choosing. So it's just, it requires hard work and dedication like every other. Yes.
That's a great insight, and I can relate to this with a small story that I read in one of the books of Sadhguru, which is called as Inner Engineering. So I think you have summarized it pretty well, and in that book, Sadhguru says, like you said that it should interest you, and you should not. The primary reason for doing something with yoga and meditation should not be only making money, but it should touch you from inside, and then only it can reflect. So I will share that small anecdote for our audiences that how Sadhguru fell in love with yoga. So Sadhguru says that when he was 12 years old, they used to get together all the cousins at their grandfather's house, and in their grandfather's house there used to be a well just behind, which was quite deep, and they used to just jump in the well, and then they used to climb up using their hands. And it was a tough task for a 12 years old. The well was pretty deep, but there were no like support, so they literally has to use their fingers to get a grip and all, and they used to get bruises and all. So one day Sadhguru witnessed a more than 70 years old guy just passing through, and they just kind of happened that they just asked him to go down and climb, and he just went down and climbed like for 4, 5, 6 times, and they were quite surprised that how he's able to do. And Sadhguru was very, very fascinated. So Sadhguru asked how you did that, and the old man replied, "Learn yoga." And Sadhguru became a ardent fan of him and followed him everywhere and learned everything. So that's how his story started. So I think it's quite interesting that it should strike a chord with you in one way or the other to let you bring that kind of change, what we call as to take it as a career. I think that's very, very important in such a field. Okay,
Yes.
so coming back to something now, the world has kind of very much shrinked in terms of instant gratification. Like, you want to eat something, you have Swiggy, you have Zomato, you order and the food is there on the table at your doorsteps. You want to watch a movie, you can open Netflix Prime and you can just binge watch the entire series. You even don't have to wait for a week to get the next episode on. And so on. You want to do shopping, you have shopping apps which deliver your favorite products in a day or two. So in this fast-paced generation, I mean, what I want to ask you is basically, people kind of they don't adapt to yoga because people want instant gratification in terms of everything which we go through. So and then there are various age factors also which people should know that they should do yoga or not, at what age and all of that. So I want you to throw some light on how people should not expect instant gratification when they are coming to learn yoga, and what are the age factors somebody should keep in mind, or the health factors. If you can throw some light on that, that would be really wonderful.
Okay, so that's a very good question. In terms of instant gratitude, so I would like to say yoga is very welcoming. It's welcoming you with open arms, but it you need to have a lot of patience. You need to have you can, I would say, dhairya hona chahiye man mein. I'm telling you, I have seen a lot of people in terms of asanas also. अब सबसे पहले किसी के पास जाओगे, आप उसे कहोगे मुझे asanas सीखने, even to learn asanas and to work hard in that, I'm telling you, I learned a lot. Even when I was only practicing asanas, it taught me how to be uh, patient enough. You know, even if I'm not able to, you know, do that asana perfectly, I will tell you the journey. I mean, I will tell you about the time when I used to practice Hanuman asana, that is called split. So my body was really stiff, let me tell you, and I was, of course, I was overweight, I will tell you. So my teacher, he used to, he was very, I wouldn't say strict, he was very calm, and with very calmness he used to count like 1, 2, 3, 4. So in between that 1, 2, 3, 4, I found very much patience, right? एक second की value to value time, I understood that. I don't know how other people took it, but I take it that way. And then later I started counting the breaths with that. So it was literally कि एक, I'm just going to practice asanas, but I am initially doing the breath work and it's calming me. So yeah, you need a lot of patience to practice yoga. It doesn't just come to you in a day or two or a month. First of all, it's not that mechanical that acha theek hai, you just sat in meditation and yeah, I mean, it's not like ki, yeah, there is, I would say, instant relief you will get when you practice pranayamas. At least in my sessions, I felt that yes, the newcomers who are not really able to practice, who didn't know about yoga or pranayama, they feel very, very good after 30 minutes of pranayama, but it doesn't stay long. You understand? You will feel calm for some time, right? Depends on your own intellect and mind level, but it won't stay for long. So to literally see that transformation in you, you have to be patient, you have to be determined, you have to be disciplined in terms of taking that, वो same जो होता है ना प्राणायाम के बाद प्राणायाम करने के बाद आपको जो फील होता है, sensation, calmness, happiness, anything you can define it as, उसको maintain करने के लिए, उसको अपनी लाइफ में उतारने के लिए, नॉन रिएक्टिव रहने के लिए हमें थोड़ा लंबा टाइम चाहिए. I won't say 2 साल, 3 साल, but yeah, 30 to 60 days will work, I guess. 2 months, or yeah, but you have to be very consistent. You have to trust in the procedure. And in terms of age, yoga is for every age group. Every age group, let me tell you. Kids can also practice it, and of course, teenagers can practice it. Elders can practice it. Even pregnant ladies can do yoga, even if you're not feeling well. Okay, certain, okay, that's therapeutic yoga. That doesn't mean आप कोई भी yoga कर सकते हो. You have to be mindful. You can practice that. We have yoga for elderly people. They do some mild joint movements, that is Sukshma Vyayama, beginners yoga. So we have yoga for every age group. So there's no age bar, there's no barrier. It's just you have to trust, you have to believe in the practice, you have to believe in yourself, right? And it teaches you a lot of things.
So that kind of do a lot of I mean, people have a lot of inhibitions and a lot of barriers when it comes to yoga and meditation. So I think that answers quite well about this subject. One more thing which we would like to know is that it's like when we say that yoga and meditation. So how, I mean, it is, how would you like define it in terms of, is it more about being in a mental space zone, or more about like being a physical zone, or like how would you define like yoga more or less in these two zones basically?
So it depends on people to people. Some people, of course, I was really shocked to see that transformation in terms of physical. You told me, na, So in terms of boys are really, obsessed about making that body, biceps and abs. So I'm telling you, people have myths that they can only they can only get that perfect structure. I don't think there's any perfect body shape. It's just in people's mind. So don't take me other way. So yeah, in terms of that, I think I have seen some people transforming in terms of their physical bodies and practicing only yoga, Ashtanga yoga, or I totally believe in Ashtanga yoga when someone wants to gain strength. So physically, it changed them. You understand? You must be hearing detox yoga, weight loss yoga. So physically, it definitely works, but you need to definitely find a correct instructor or teacher.
Like, can
Mentally,
someone also gain strength while doing yoga? Can we
lovely.
also
Yeah.
gain strength?
Yes. Strength physically, yes.
Okay.
If you practice Ashtanga yoga, sun salutation, so we have 3 levels in Ashtanga yoga. In Hatha yoga also we have some strength, but it's more about strength and handstands and, of course, a lot of breath and Ujjayi pranayama we amalgamate with the practice and then we practice it. So even if you practice Ashtanga yoga for strength, you will come to know unke sun salutation mein hi itna we do planks, right? If you practice Ashtanga yoga, you will see the high level planks. I'm telling you, we call it Chaturanga Dandasana. You can search it on Google, or you can definitely ask me later what is that. If you practice it, if you even hold it for 1 to 2 minutes, it really affects on your core, your shoulders, and definitely on your strength. So we have a lot. Yoga is like, you continue to dig it, and you'll find everything there. I'm telling you, it's totally related to spirituality and metaphysics, and many things are there.
So I
Yeah,
think it's
you
it's
can.
more of a combination of both the things,
Yeah,
like mental and
mental.
physical.
I need to explain you the mental.
And
Yeah. So in mental, it's definitely a life changing experience if you are able to feel that mental uh, transformation. I'm telling you, and you can find it anywhere. You will feel so calm. You will feel so neutral. uh, एंड यू वॉन्ट नो कि क्यों हो रहा है ऐसा, मैं ऐसा कैसे हो गया हूँ अचानक से. You will ask yourself questions, I'm telling you. And I am not just saying because I've heard it. I'm just saying it because I have experienced it myself, right? I now, if I find myself in some difficult situations, so let me tell you, I totally connect to mantra yoga, mantra chanting. So I really feel the vibrations of it. And now some of my students, once I was chanting Om chants. I really love chanting Om. Every day I do it like many times. I do it in my sessions also, but apart from it, because I love it. I love the vibrations I feel after it. But I can't explain what I feel mentally. So someone just told me when, ma'am, you're chanting Om, but I can feel the vibrations in my body. So I was so shocked. I didn't even know that it happens. But someone told me. So I felt, yeah, it comes by the practice. It heals you, it heals your heart, it heals your emotions, and you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. I'm telling you, it's just your internal journey, and you start feeling positive, you start feeling more energetic, right? All that lethargic, you will never get, uh, I won't say never get tired, depends on people and their bodies again. But it's my personal experience that I don't feel tired. Even if I am awake for one whole night and then I have to work next day, I don't feel that. And I totally give the credit to yoga. Many things, many times that have happened that I've not slept for like the whole night and then in the morning I'm teaching yoga. I'm telling you that 1 hour of class refreshes me. I don't feel dizzy. I don't feel sleepy. And yeah, it is that. I'll just give you a short thing about Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is a type of meditation which, it connects you. It's all working on your subconscious and your conscious mind. It's some state between the wakefulness or in easy language sleepiness. So you imagine, कभी सोचेगा wakefulness और sleepiness के बीच की stage क्या होती है. उसको अटेन करने के लिए आपको एटलीस्ट कुछ लंबे समय तक प्रैक्टिस करनी पड़ेगी. बट इट इज सेड दैट जो लोग योग निद्रा की प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, they sleep only for like 2 to 3 hours a day. I have a person, he might be like around 50 years old and he sleeps only for 3 hours. And people asked him, how can you do that? He's like, I practice yoga nidra. And I'm telling you, it's very relaxing, very rejuvenating. And because it has these steps, 8 steps we have in yoga nidra, and they really work upon the mind. We have not just given you something ki ha chalo breathing kar. They have literally designed the practices in such a way. It's like, I'll just give you a short example. It's like whenever you have to, अब आपको अपने घर में आप सोच रहे हो मुझे garden चाहिए. So what will you do? You will take that land. You will first of all start by plucking the weeds, right? You do that. After that, वो सारे unwanted plants आप निकालोगे, grasses or weeds, whatever you call it. Then you will start harvesting the soil, right? And then what will you do? You will plow the land, उसको पूरा खुदाई करोगे, पूरा अच्छे से, right? You will make it soft. Then you will sow the seed, and then seed will take time to come up, and it will all be green, and then it will become a garden. Same thing we are doing in meditation. Same thing. At least I am doing that. Whenever people comes to me with different things, so I try to understand what I have to pick, what I have to, teach. It happens. You can do it even with yourself. So in Yoga Nidra, that's what we are doing.
About it. Now, one thing which, I mean, don't want to say it like in that way, but social media has always impacted a lot of things. When it comes to you look at anything everything has been impacted by social media. So, I mean, I want to know your views. Like, this is actually a Indian way of, a lifestyle, Indian lifestyle, which has been kind of lost somewhere in between. I will not say lost somewhere, but with we gradually growing in terms of technology and all, people were kind of actually going away to other things like normally, like what we say is that people are like coming back now from eating cornflakes. Now we also understand our pohas are equally nutritious, and
Yes.
copying West in everything. Now we are realizing that our own culture and tradition has so much more that we can capitalize on that rather than copying West on everything. And this is actually gone back. Like if you see most of the apps of meditation, they have been developed by all these foreigners who have got trained in India itself, and then they went back and have utilized it, and they have developed all these things. But do you see that social media has made a real impact when it comes to reviving yoga, meditation, and all these? Because now I see the generation change is there. People are now not only now going to the gyms, but today's youth wants to go back to and learn yoga in a different way. I have seen people enrolling in yoga classes, going for meditations. I have seen many interviews of Indian CEOs, who say that they meditate every day for like 15-30 minutes before they start their work, which kind of helps them keep the balance in their lives. And slowly and gradually, we are seeing this change, and social media is playing a pivotal role in this. So, I mean, how I mean, we can make this much more better when it comes to play this whole thing all together.
So according to me, I'll just tell you how I took it. I totally enjoy, I should use the word, teaching physically in the classroom. Plus, I really appreciate the effort of people who are making an initiative to work to practice online or anything, because we are always up. We have to grow, right? We are not ready to come out of our own cocoon. So it's like practicing yoga or meditation is like that feeling. So I totally feel that it's very convenient, it's really good that but there are, yes, of course, some points where I, being a teacher, feel that yeah, I could have give them some more good experience in terms of energies and different things. But I think it's pretty convenient, and it should be promoted more. And we should not really stop this digital practicing. You you mentioned, I appreciate it, but yeah, it's not really as good as practicing in person with the people, because of course, when I'm teaching my advanced sessions, I am using blocks and straps to, and maybe sometimes I'm telling them to get a partner with them so that you can do properly stretch them. But what if I can feel the difference as a teacher if I make someone else practice, if I do some corrections in their alignments, it's completely different when I make someone else do it. So yeah, it's like yeah, 20% to 30% difference. But if you are willing to learn something, if you are willing to practice, if you are willing to have that experience, definitely in today's scenario, you should go online and practice it. It's really helping a lot of people also, because not everyone can open up their own big institutes, or not everyone is capable of having, building up or renting a place. So for these people, online sessions are very, very helpful, right? So I take it kind of positively, and I think it should be promoted more. People should switch to online, but yeah, they should not forget the essence of offline and practicing with the teacher.
Okay, on a lighter note, like I was recently watching a video of Virat Kohli wherein he went from when he went for his fitness journey from being chubby to all that lean and fit, and you know how mothers are. So he said that my Punjabi mom, she never got enough of that. You know, I got fit, and she always used to tell me कि बहुत पतला हो गया है, and this is not. You should eat the घर का खाना, and you should be healthy. And देख सब खाते हैं, सब तगड़े हैं. And it was so. By this, I want to draw a fact that you are very young. You are like in your early. I mean mid 20s, early 30, 25, 26 year old, and you are doing so much. So I mean a major chunk of Indian parents think that ये yoga or meditation कर रहा है, ये कुछ और बाबा बाबा ना बन जाए. And on lighter note, like, do you have a fun fact to your life apart from yoga and meditation? Like what exactly a day, normal day runs for Ashita? Like, do you go to watch movies? Do you eat pizza? Do you enjoy burgers? Do you party? How do you go to picnics? And how does you have fun when you're not doing yoga and meditations?
So you want to know how I start my day now, or
No, it's just a lighter note, like that. Okay, it's not only about yoga and meditation, but yes, like normal other girl, what do you do exactly with to keep you sane and not become a sadhvi kind of thing?
see, I won't. Okay, that's kind of a personal question. So yeah, I also have that life, but I love pizzas. I love junk food like every other girl or a person does. But whenever I'm having it, that sattvic food which we read about in yoga, that is always there in my mind. So if I'm eating like pizza maybe today, So maybe next 7 days, I will definitely focus on having a sattvic diet, and I mean, it's just inbuilt in me now. I can't
It's kind of
control
on
it.
the back of your head, yeah.
It's like in my conscious mind, and whenever I'm eating, I'm seeing the cheese. I'm a cheese lover, of course, and I see, oh my god, I'm eating so much, and it's not sattvic. And even if I'm having some uh, in yoga, it is said that food is also divided in sattvic, tamasic, and rajasic. So whenever I'm having the food, so I literally see it. And in yoga, it is said that even the person who's cooking the food, the bhava or the sense of mind. अगर कोई गुस्से से खाना बना रहा है, तो people say कि that bhava comes to the food. So I am very particular in that. If sometimes if someone is cooking for me and they are not cooking or I am not cooking, I mean, I don't cook usually, but if I see they are not cooking it out of love, I will literally prevent from eating that, because I know all these energies are entering to me. Since you are seeing in my profile, I'm Reiki healer and Tibetan, and all these things work on energies and vibrations, so I totally believe in them. And I follow all these traditions of Rajasic, Tamasic, and Sattvic in terms of food. Yeah, I eat junk food, but I kind of balance it in that way. And in terms of my daily life, I try to be patient. I'm telling you, I'm not saying I'm full of patience and all. Yes, I lose my calm. Yes, I feel sad and everything. But how fast you come out of it defines your practice. Like if I'm angry right now and I shouted on anyone, of course I do it, I accept that. Or I said something. So I'm telling you, it used to happen with me. मतलब बहुत टाइम लगता था पहले मुझे ये सोचने में. अब even if I screamed at someone and that person is in another room and I came out, immediately that realization is there in my mind that, oh my God, Harshita, what did you just do? Why did you harm yourself like that? Why did you get angry? How can you hurt someone that way? So it's kind of, I'm following the first Yama Niyam, that, you don't hurt anyone. You don't keep that, what do you say?
It kind of makes you more aware of. So the gist of this, why I asked you this question was, that yoga meditation, it kinds of makes you sound so much aware that okay, you live a normal life, you have your cheat days, but it helps you to realize that you're doing something which, and then it brings you back. So that was my intention of asking you this question, that how it how I mean, you can definitely have a normal life, you can definitely do some fun stuff, but what it is going to help you is maybe it will help you realize after some time, and then you are back on your track of achieving what you want to do in your life. That was
It made
actually
me
the whole.
honest. It made me honest. I'm honest in terms of everything, I would say. If I don't like anything, I mean, I won't hurt someone, but I won't hurt myself also. I won't do it. I'm honest towards people. I'm honest. I can definitely say it in front of everyone because I have that confidence that I have not done such activity. So I am that confident about myself that I don't practice something which really, really hurts someone. So yeah, that is because of yoga. That is because I realized yoga. Yeah, what yoga is. I give all the credit.
Okay, one more thing which we want to discuss with you was that we have all these things going on in corporates, wherein people give free access for 3 months to use a certain meditation apps, or they give coupons to go and attend yoga classes and all of that stuff. That is happening very well, but in India we do see this very, very rarely. Uh, do you feel that as an employer, or as a kind of a responsibility towards employees, companies should promote this culture of accommodating meditation or some kind of yoga classes for their employees, so that they can take benefit out of it? Because at times what happens is that people are genuinely not interested, but when somebody kind of creates a initiative, people ऐसा होता है ना कि हमारे वर्क प्लेस में if I am going for a movie and then there are five other people joining, so we all go together, and we are a social being, social animal, so we kind of do well in a herd. So, do you feel that this initiative should be actually practiced in Indian corporate culture?
I totally feel that especially in corporate, it should be, introduced because I have talked to a lot of people. They don't really know what they are doing, how, why they are doing. They don't know about their food habits. They are having those back issues, spine issues. They are sometimes having some type of stress, and they're not even aware that they are why they are reacting the way they are. So थोड़ा realization हमें बहुत जरूरी है. थोड़ा सा I would like to say you should introduce them, or any company, if they want to, they should introduce at least them to some breathing practices, not meditation, because it's kind of a different level. Breathing practices हम उनको करवा सकते हैं, प्राणायाम करवा सकते हैं, and those people who connect to it, they will definitely would like to explore more. And in terms of apps you were talking about, so I'm telling you, I personally believe in the practices of meditation, what I teach, what I have learned. Any app, any app you download cannot, I can promise you that, cannot give you the experience which a
Of
traditional
course,
meditation can give you, because they are just giving you the level one of it. They are not telling you how is it affecting you. So I personally do that. People tell me, they come to me, they say, okay, they are some in some deep depression, maybe they are hurt. Okay, you practice meditation, you practice it, but you definitely need a guide, I would say, to, or a guru, है ना, अगर आप traditional
of course.
Indian language में बोलो, to make you go deeper in that. Okay, definitely you can go deeper in that yourself, but that right kind of knowledge and path you need to find. Definitely you can introduce it to employees and everywhere. It's for everyone, especially for old people. They get cranky when they get old, they lose their calm. They should definitely practice at least 10 to 15 minutes or 20 minutes of meditation. Any meditation it can be. It helps, definitely.
Okay, since we are running a little out of time,
Yes.
I would like to have your last thoughts on. We have all gone through this COVID and all. A lot of people have lost jobs, and a lot of people are going through different kind of circumstances, which I mean, normal people cannot imagine, or I mean, I cannot imagine, or you cannot imagine. I understand that to a certain extent that yoga and meditation is not going to help you get back to your jobs, or to improve your uh, financial conditions and all of those things. But I would like you to have your closing thoughts on, like, how one should go about, practicing these things in these times of uncertainty, where we don't know how exactly the future will open up for everyone.
So yeah, definitely, it's a good question. So I have been having a lot of people like that. They lost their jobs. Even one of the student I'm teaching, he lost his job, and he was living in Canada, and the circumstances were so, difficult with him. He has to come back to India. So just imagine, he lost his life kind of thing, because he has been living in Canada for 15 years, and now because of all this situation he has to come back. And of course, practicing yoga and meditation won't give you any job, but let me give you a solution to it first before spreading or some light about it. We all have skills in us, right? So I mean, we should find out in terms. Some people are doing what they know. Some people are just not doing. They're working on some other fields. So if you really want to work and you're suffering, something because of finances, there are n number of online jobs daily I find, for especially for people who are not working. Yes, they are not giving you some good packages, but they are providing you with something you can definitely, they are 25 to 30, 35,000 or minimum 20,000 they are providing. So I'm telling you, it's just you need to first find out कि ठीक है अब ये मेरी लाइफ में नहीं है, अब मैं इसके आगे क्या करूं, instead of thinking कि past में ये हो गया, अब जॉब नहीं है, वो नहीं है. You see what is there in your platter, and then you start thinking, you make a plan and then you work upon it, right? First thing is that. Second thing is that you start seeing, people are not even having some money to arrange food for themselves or their family. They have, so if you have food in your platter, if you are having some people around you who are healthy, who are able to, who loves you, you should be grateful. You should start counting your blessings instead of just looking back and see what you don't have. Concentrate on what you have and start living with it. Have some gratitude towards yourself and gratitude towards the universe that it's okay, you lost the job, but in this time of pandemic, at least you are not suffering from COVID, at least you are not on the hospital bed. Believe me, there are people who lost the bread earner of their family, I'm telling you. Still they are surviving, and still I see them through meditation and yoga practicing with me. And I'm not with me only. Definitely there must be many other teachers who are talking to them, who are boosting them up, who are providing them strength, and they smile. They are thankful. You understand? That's what yoga gives you. Whatever happens in your life, you know, through these practices, you overcome, you come back and you see what is there in front of me. You start being grateful for what you have in front of you. You understand? By ignoring or forgetting or letting go what bad happened to you, you start counting your blessings. You understand? That's what yoga gives you. Not only the asanas, not only the fitness, but this sense of thought and mind. That's what you're getting when you practice yoga and meditation. So
It
yeah,
was a great insight, and thank you so much, Harshita, for sharing all your wisdom and all the practices with us. And it was a wonderful session. I hope people, get something out of it, and they have a new perspective towards yoga and meditation, and yeah, keep doing the great work which you are doing. And it's great to see such young guns blazing, all hot. And yeah, all the best to you, and stay healthy and do well. Yeah.
you too. Thank you so much for having me here. I hope you all stay healthy, fit, and safe. Namaskar. Thank you.
Thank you.